Ross, sauce it up. Suicide is not gonna hold me.
Ayo, what's going on guys? It's Fire here. We're back today with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to do this motion tracking gameplay transition that you just saw. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be using the software Adobe Premiere Pro and Adobe After Effects. So it would be really helpful if you guys had these softwares. But even if you don't, you can, if you found another good software that can do the same thing this is going to do, then you're good. So the first thing we're gonna do is just find the point on where we want where the clip is actually. So yeah, the clip is right here, but let's just find the point where the character pulls out the pump. So yeah, right here. Yeah, so the character pulls out the pump right here. So I'm just gonna play the song back, so you guys can hear it. And by the way, if you guys either get stuck on this tutorial, I'm going to leave the file to the clip and the song in the description so you guys can follow along with this. Or you guys can ask any questions in the comment section below that I will answer. So for right now, I'm just going to play the song back so you guys can listen to it.
Hey Ross, sauce it up. Suicide is not.
Alright, so that was a bit of the song. So as you can see, I already have a marker on one of the beats. So I think it's on this beat right here.
Hey Ross.
So when A-Ross sauce it up is said, that's where we want the transition to start. I figured that would be a good duration of the transition. So so what we're gonna do is just kind of cut at a random point, at like a really small point, and then we're just gonna drag the rest of this out. So it like kind of syncs perfectly. So I'm just gonna play this back.
Hey Ross, sauce it up. Suicide.
Alright, so right at this beat right here, I think it's around here. Yeah, so that one right there. So we're gonna make it so that the kill is on that beat. So what we're going to do is just duplicate this clip so we can find the kill. And if you guys don't know how to do that, I think on Mac you just have to hold Option and then drag it. And I think on Windows you have to do it for Shift. But I'm not totally sure on that. So let's just find the point on where the kill is, which I think is like right here. So we want it to be right here. So we're gonna cut this and delete the rest of this. So we're just gonna set a marker on the beat or where we want this to be. So let's just play the song back.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
So right around there. So we're just gonna drag this, and I'll just set a marker just in case. Alright, now let's just play this back.
Hey Ross, sauce it up. Suicide is not gonna hold.
Alright, so I think that's pretty good. So the next thing we're going to do is actually do the motion tracking transition. And I'm going to do that in After Effects because it has a motion tracking in it. But the first thing we're going to have to do is export these frames right here because it's going to be transitioning between the two. So what you have to do is just click on this photo icon here that says export frame. You can just name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name it start of transition. And then we're going to have to export this frame as well. When the character starts to shoot the gun. So we're just going to click on the photo icon again, and then we're just going to name it end of transition. You guys can name it whatever you want, but I'm just going to name it this. So yeah, so we're all good for motion tracking it now. So I'm going to be going on After Effects now. I'll see you guys in a second.
A few moments later.
Alright guys, so we're in After Effects now, and yeah, so let's get to the motion tracking. So the first thing we're going to do is just kind of crop this composition / clip so it's in the right spot. So I'm just gonna crop it like, I'm gonna say like right here. So what you do is just drag this to the point on where you want it to be cut, and then I think it's good till the end, so I'm just gonna leave it. and then what we're gonna do is right click, not there, yeah, trim comp to work area. That'll cut the part that you dragged it, like the part where you dragged it to, that space to the left of it is what got cut. So yeah, so we have a little cinematic that's like going out. So yeah, so what we're gonna do is do the motion tracking. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go up top, click animation, and then track camera. This is basically gonna track the scene, it's gonna track any surfaces, objects, or anything. So this process usually takes a little bit of time depending on how good your PC is, but for now, I'll see you guys in a second. Now, there's usually supposed to be these little track points that show up, but I don't know why they're not showing up online. It's probably because the footage is too small, or there's not really much to track. But as you can see, there's this little target on my cursor, and this is just gonna, like, wherever you click, that's gonna be the spot on where you're gonna track your image or text or anything. So what we're gonna do is just find like where it's coming out from. So I would see it's like coming out from, oh, now I can see the track points. So yeah, I think it was just like a little bit, I think the camera was a little bit too far, so yeah. So we're just gonna find the point on where it's coming out from. Yeah, so it came out from, I think, this frame exactly. So we're gonna do, what am I saying, this spot. So what I'm gonna do is just click here, right click, I'm gonna create solid and camera. Now there are multiple ways to track an image, but this is my personal way of doing it. As you can see, we get this little track solid here. Now if you don't know what this is, don't worry, I'll show you. So a track solid is, it can basically help like track any 3D things, or for this instance, an image. So what we're going to do is right click on the track solid. What we're gonna do is pre-compose it. So pre-compose basically means just to put stuff together, but for this one we're just gonna make the whole like composition and the track, we're just gonna like combine the composition and the track solid together, which is why I said track solid 1, composition 1. So yeah. Alright, so as you can see here, the track solid has now been rendered. It's just like a pink square, but we're gonna fix that on later. As you can see, it might be a little bit bent, so I might just rotate this a little bit. And then what we're going to do is double click on this, and as you can see, it brings us up to the actual track solid. Now what we have to do is just import our gameplay in there, but first what we have to do is you have to go up to composition and then composition settings. Since the gameplay is in a rectangle shape and this track solid is a square shape, we need to change the width and height of it. So usually you would put it to 1920 height by 1080, 1920 width to 1080 height. That's the usual size for the rectangular gameplay. So we're just gonna stretch this out like this, and yeah, we're just gonna import our gameplay images that we took in Premiere Pro, and I'll be back when I do. Alright, so I've imported the 2 images. So what we're gonna do is just drag the place on where we started the transition, which I called the start of transition.jpg. We're just gonna drag that onto the track solid, and as you can see, it just goes on there, and then we're just gonna like size this up a little bit so it fits the whole solid. I think something like this should be good. Yeah, so what you're gonna do is just go back to your main composition. As you can see, the gameplay is here. It's tracked onto the roof of this building. So there are a lot of things you can do to make this image look better. As you can see, it is motion tracked, but there's a lot of things you can do to make it better. Like for example, you could add a bit of shadow to it, so it looks like it's like on the roof. So what you're gonna do is just go to your effects, a panel, you're just gonna type in drop shadow, and then you're just gonna put it on your track solid composition, and yeah, you can just mess around with these. So what I like to do is keep the opacity like 100, and as you can see, there's a bit of a outline kind of around the edge, but what we're gonna do is fix that because it looks a little weird. So we're just gonna change the direction. I kind of want it to be like on the opposite side. Alright, so let's go back here, and then this. Okay. And as you can see, we get a bit of an outline. Actually, let me just fix that a little bit. I think the distance is a bit too much. Let's put it to like 6. But nope. 6. And as you can see, there's a bit of a kind of like shadow / outline on it. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, you could mess around. More with these settings, but yeah, this is gonna be like the basic thing. So, yeah, so you have your motion tracked image for the start of the transition. Now you just need to do it for the end of the transition. So what we're gonna do is, I'm just gonna render this, and then we'll start the other one. Alright, so the first part of the transition finished rendering, so what we're going to be doing is doing the second part of the transition, where it's going back into the gameplay. So what we have to do is, before we track it, we have to first like find the point on where it's like going into. As you can see, it's like, I think it's going into this spot exactly right here, which I think I have to remember. Oh. So what we're going to be doing is going to animation again and track camera if I can, but yeah, okay. Okay, there we go. So what we're going to be doing is going to our footage and going to animation and then track camera. So again, this will track the scene. And then what we're going to be doing is just putting the gameplay in that exact spot that I just mentioned before. I think it's somewhere around here. So I'll be back when this is finished tracking. Alright, so the scene has been tracked, and as you can see, the target is right here on my cursor. And I've also kind of cropped the clip because it was a bit too long. So yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna find the point again on where it's going to, because I kind of forgot that. So just look right here. It's like about right here. I'm gonna click there, and then you're gonna right click, and then you're gonna do create solid in camera. And yeah, as you can see, it created kind of a blue solid. And then what you're gonna do is go to your solid, you're gonna click on it here. And what you're gonna do is press pre-compose to you know, merge it with the composition. So yeah, track solid 1, comp 2, and you're gonna press OK. You guys can rename it if you want, but I'm not going to for this. So yeah, as you can see, the track solid is here. What we're gonna do is double click on it here. And then, yeah, and like before, we have to change the composition settings since the gameplay is a rectangle shape and the track solid is a square shape here. So what we have to do is go up to composition and then composition settings. And then to make it a rectangle shape, you have to make the width 1920, like I said before, and then you just leave the height as it is. And as you can see, it goes to the exact shape, yeah. And then what we're just gonna do is kind of stretch it so it just fits the whole space. And then, yeah, you got the track solid as a rectangle. Now what we need to do is just drag our end of transition picture in there. Well, that's what I called it, but just where the transition's gonna end. So what you're gonna do is just drag it here. And then, yeah, you have your image in here. We're just gonna put it right here and then scale it down like this. Yeah, this should be good. I think this should be good. And as you can see, when we go back to our main composition, I think it's, let's see, which one is our main composition? And yeah, as you can see, the gameplay, I don't know why it's lagging here, but as you can, yeah, okay, there we go. So as you can see, the gameplay is tracking there, but it's way too big, so we're gonna need to decrease the size of it. It'll still get motion tracked, don't worry. So yeah, and then we're just gonna change a bit of the rotation, because as you can see, it's like kind of like slanted a bit too much, so we're just gonna put it like that. That should be good. And then what we're going to do is see if this is, yeah, we're just gonna decrease the size a bit more and then drag it a bit down there, but I think that should be good. And again, you can add these, you can add drop shadow to it to make it look better. So I'm just gonna do that right now. So what we're gonna do is just go clip and then opacity, I'll just turn it to, actually I might just leave it at 50, I might just increase the distance. I don't want it to be too shadowy, so I think something like that should be good. I might need to turn down the opacity just a little bit, but overall I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. So you added your drop shadow, you added your image, so what I'm going to do is just render this out, and we're going to go back to Adobe Premiere Pro and then try and edit these. So I'll see you guys in a second. Alright, so I'm back on Premiere. I have both of my motion tracks here. So what we're going to be doing is just trying to make it so that it, like, you know, kind of blends in these clips, if you guys understand what I'm saying. So what we're just going to be doing is just putting one of them out. I think this is where it's going to come out of. So I'm going to drag this one first. We're just going to like crop it out so it can like fit this little space right here. And we also have to kind of speed it up as well. So I think this is pretty good. What we're just gonna do is erase that, and then I'm just gonna play it back one time so I can just like, you know how I can speed it up and timer map it. Okay, so I think I know what I have to do. So basically, to timer map these clips, what you have to do is just right click, you have to go to show clip keyframes, timer mapping, and then speed. What we're gonna be doing is just oh wait, actually first of all, let me like unlike the audio, because I don't think I want the audio in here. So what we're gonna be doing is just messing around with this clip. So we're just gonna bring this down here so we can, nope, wrong thing. Sorry. Let's bring this back up. Yeah, okay, that's kind of big. That's way too big. Okay, so what we need to do is just kind of like speed this up a lot. So I think once it gets to like here, we should, what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on this. Once it gets to somewhere around here, you're gonna click a speed keyframe. What you're gonna do is, if you see this little thing below the cursor, you're just gonna drag this thing up. It'll just speed it up a lot. So yeah, we're making so that's gonna like fit the space here. So you might just add a curve as well. So what you're gonna do is just to add a curve, what you do is just you bring this like to the right, and then what you have to do is click on this part of the keyframe right here, and then you can either click on the upper bottom, and then you just have to like kind of like rotate it or spin it to make a little curve, as you can see there. So I think it's gonna be a little bit too slow, but we're just gonna keep on cranking this up. Let me just look at this one more time. Okay, so I think what we have to do is, yeah, so I think we can, like, split it, like, right here. I know it's not really that perfect, but this is kind of a basic tutorial, so, yeah. So, let's just see it. That's kind of a bit too slow. We might need to crank this up as well as crank this part. We just need to make it so that it fits, like, half of this space right here, so we're just gonna increase the size of this wood frame, and then we're just gonna drag it over here as well as the marker, and then we're just gonna like keep cranking this up until it fits like about half of this space, really. So I'm just gonna do that real quick. I think this should be pretty good. This fits about half the space, so let's just kind of watch this back. So as you can see, like when we, oh wait, hold on, I gotta put this on, off mute. What we're gonna do, so, yeah, so it doesn't, it looks a little bit weird just because, it doesn't look like it's actually coming from the gameplay, so what we have to do is like put a little transition in between those so it looks a little better. So what I like to do is just go to, File, New, actually no, let's do it from here. So I like to make an adjustment layer. You can just do that by clicking here, and clicking adjustment layer, or you can do that by going to File, okay, for this, okay. Or you can also do it by going to File, New, and then adjustment layer here. So what you're gonna do is just drag that here, and we want the transition to be a little bit short, so we're gonna have to shorten this a bit. We have to make it so that's between the two clips, because usually a transition is between two clips. So let's just increase the size of that, and then put it right here. And then what I like to do is put in the effect directional blur, and then like that. And then what we just do is just we like set keyframes for the transition. So what we have to do is once it gets to around like here, what we're gonna do is actually no, first of all, okay, so here what we're gonna do is set a keyframe. So you can do that by pressing this button called toggle animation. That will activate the keyframes for this specific thing, and let's just do that for each one. Actually no, we don't really need one for direction, actually I was wrong. And then we go one frame forward. What we could do is just put another keyframe blur length. We can increase it to like increase it maybe to like 35. That should be pretty good. And then I think once we get to around about here, we're gonna set another keyframe and put it back to 0. So it should look something like this. That's a little bit too fast, but we might. Yeah, that's a little bit too fast, but yeah, that's how it's like supposed to be. A little bit. So yeah, we basically got the first one down. I know it does not look perfect at all. I know it's not look perfect at all. There's a lot of things you can do to improve on this, but this is just a basic tutorial so you guys like get the concept. So what we're gonna do is do that for the end of the transition. Now this part should be the easiest because like you're actually going into gameplay like this. So this part should look like it's actually going into gameplay. The other one I could fix a little bit, but this is just the tutorial to get you guys to know the concept. So what I'm gonna do is just so what you're gonna do is click on it, and then you right click and you go to show clip keyframes, timer mapping, and then speed. And then we're just gonna do the same thing as before. What we're gonna do is just like maybe like here, maybe we're gonna hit a keyframe, and then we're gonna crank this up a lot, as well as this, because as you can see, like when let me just control Z what I just did. So as you can see, when you like play like that, it goes way too slow like that. So we need to increase this as well, the initial movement. So until it fits this little space right here, I think that should be And also we're gonna add a curve to this as well. So let me just increase the size of the workspace. Go over here. Again, to make the diagonal like line first, you're gonna have to drag this to the right. And then you're just gonna have to click on this keyframe, which apparently just clicked. You're just gonna have to drag this, like rotate it to make a curve, as you can see there. And then we just gotta crank this a bit more up so it just fits the space. And I think that should be good. Might need to crank it up a bit more, but overall, I think that should be pretty good. Let me just... Yeah, so I don't think the motion tracking we did on this one was completely perfect, but you guys get the idea on how this is supposed to look. So I think this should be good right here. So we just have to like find the point on you know, where it should go into the gameplay, and I'm pretty sure it should go like right here. So we're just gonna cut it there, delete the rest, and then put the gameplay here. And again, it does not look good really, because like, I mean, it looks a little good, but it'll look a little better if we had a transition to it. But since we already made a transition for the, you know, going out of the gameplay, we're just gonna duplicate this here by, again, sorry, I didn't do that, by like clicking Option on your keyboard, like holding it down and then dragging it here, or doing the same with Shift. And I think that should be good. Let's just play this back. There are a ton of things you can do to make this thing better, like in terms of effects. Like for example, you can add black bars to these cinematics, and oh wait, I just realized we might have to put a transition in between these two clips as well, so it's kind of smooth. And you can also do like sound effects to make this better, but we're just gonna play this back. Alright, it did go a little bit fast, so we might have to I think change some of this up. So let me just increase the work. Let me just fix this. Just put this on. I think what we can do is just do like this. Okay, that looks really good. Oh, this is a little black space in the middle, but let's just fix that. I think that looks pretty good, honestly. Yeah, that looks really good, except we don't have a ton of effects in there. We just have these transitions, and then obviously we sped up the footage. So yeah, this is basically the whole tutorial of the transition. You guys really get the idea. I know like what I did was not perfect, but you guys basically get the concept. At least hopefully you do. Now also guys, I forgot to tell you that I won't be doing effects in this tutorial with the footage, like as you saw in the, you know, the game transition before the tutorial, because like that's not really what this tutorial is about, and also the video will be a little bit too long, so I'm gonna cut it short with effects, and maybe I might make a tutorial on that soon. So yeah, but if this was helpful to you, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video then. Bye bye.